Before I talk about the Vipassana insights, I want to clear my mind of something that I've been thinking for 2 days. I have to get that out. On the 27th this month, on March evening, I heard a very terrible news. And since then, I felt very sad for them. Something happened in the Southern California near San Diego. I was near that place when I was in America. 39 people committed suicide. Why? I don't know the detail of the story, but no matter why they killed themselves, it's not a good thing to do. Never a good thing to do. But that shows that people want something more than money and pleasure. That is a proof that people want more than money and sense pleasure. They want guidance, teaching. They want a good leader. But they did not have a good leader. They were misled. That is not a solution. There's no good reason to die. And I'll tell you a few things that I remember about the Buddha and his disciples who have attained a hardship. So, when the great disciples of the Buddha attain a hardship, and then they live as long as they can live, it's natural for the body to live. And then when they know that when they are going to die, which means when they are going to do Parinibbana, because for them it is not really dead. That's not the same. Because for most people, they die and they get reborn again. But for arhants, they just pass away. It's the end of the process. Not a being dying. Just a process comes to an end. So, these great disciples, they came to the Buddha and said, I'm going to do my Parinibbana on such and such a day, such and such a time. And Buddha didn't say do that, or don't do that even. Because to tell them not to do that means to be attached to life, to living, which is also Buddha never encouraged. But to tell them, oh, it's a good thing to do, means praising death. So you know what Buddha said at that moment, in that kind of situation? You know your time for Parinibbana. Very important to understand why Buddha said that. He didn't say, do your Parinibbana, die or not to die. Buddha never praised both. Dying, Buddha never praised. So that is not a solution. We cannot solve anything by dying. If it were a good solution, it would be very nice. So when I was young, I thought if there were no life anymore, it would be good, just die. But you'll be reborn. This is the truth. And what you do now and how you die now will affect your future life. So even if we have to die, we should learn how to die well, with awareness. Never to use death as a solution. Buddha never praised death. So since then, for 2 days I've been thinking about it. Can't get it out of my mind. I feel very sad for them. They wanted something. They really wanted something. They were ready to pay their life for it. They had very, in a way, they want to give up sense pleasure, even give up their life for something better. But that is not a good solution. And that also shows that the society is very unsatisfactory. A lot of people have money, sense pleasure, but they are not really happy. So I encourage people to join a group, a spiritual group, but you have to choose very well what the goal and the teaching of that group is. But here we know what we are doing. We know our goal. Never follow a teacher blindly, not even me. Buddha even didn't encourage you to follow him blindly. And maybe most of you have read Kalama Sutta. Buddha talk about not to believe. Very important. That teaching is really revolutionary. So to understand the Dhamma very well is very important. Even in Buddhist teaching, sometimes people misinterpret the teaching of the Buddha to suit their own ideals, their own ideas. Nobody can stop that, but if you know real basic teaching of the Buddha, you can find out whether that is true or not. There are many salient points by which you can test it. So that's what is in my mind. On that day, Thursday night, I couldn't even talk very well. I was very sad. So today we will continue our discussion on Vipassana, and this is also I'm trying to do, because even when people write or talk about Vipassana, I've noticed that they were writing something wrong. They were talking about Vipassana, but what they were trying to say is not really accurate. What they interpret as insight or enlightenment is not true. So that's why I'm trying to give in a simple language and a very clear explanation what the insights means and what enlightenment means, so that you can understand if anybody tells you about it, whether that is true or not. That's why I'm trying to give the Pali quotations also. This is the Buddha's words. These are the criterions. You can test it. So today I will talk about the fifth insight. Last week I told you briefly about the fifth. Today, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth and ninth. So I told you the first four, very important. We need to go slowly in detail. But once we have reached the fourth, the rest becomes easier. So the first insight is difficult. Second, third, not very difficult. Fourth, difficult. And if you keep practicing, fifth follows naturally. Because in the fourth insight, you see arising and passing away very clearly. Both arising and passing away. And then arising and passing away very clearly. In the fifth insight, the arising and passing away becomes quicker, faster. So after a while, you see passing away and passing away. You don't pay as much attention on arising, although you can see it if you pay attention. But you pay more attention on passing away, disappearing, not there anymore, not there anymore. You pay attention and it's not there anymore. The moment you try to know, to see something, you see that it's gone. You cannot really see it anymore. You only see the glimpse of it and it's not there anymore. So that is the one aspect of one factor of the fifth insight. And another important factor is that when you notice something like a sound, you hear the sound and it's gone. You notice any kind of sensation in your body, the moment you notice it, it's gone. It's not there anymore. But you also know the noting mind also is gone. So in the same process, without interruption, without any thought coming in between, you can see both gone. So which means, I'll give you Pali again, because these Pali words are very important. Even though you don't understand Pali language, that will make you understand that. Nyata. Nyata means known. Something noticed. So when you pay attention to some object, that object is called nyata. That is known, noticed. And the first thing is, this meditator, see that this object is gone, passed away. And also jnana. Jnana means the consciousness with wisdom, which notice that something is gone. Because to see that something is gone is wisdom. Anicca jnana. So this meditator watching the object and see that the object arises and passes away, but he saw the passes away very clearly. It's gone, it's not there anymore. And then also the wisdom, the vipassana wisdom, this consciousness also is gone. So jnata is gone and jnana also is gone. Both gone. in the same process, with every noticing, every time the person pays attention, he sees the two together, without any effort, without trying to see both passing away. Just in one noticing, one follows another, automatically, without any thought in between. So that is a very important distinct factor of the fifth insight, which is called Nibindanyana. Bhanga means dissolution, disappearing. So every time in that state a person meditates, no matter what the object, even the movement, without paying attention to the shape anymore, but the sensation, whenever he or she moves, the meditator is aware of the sensations, and it's very quickly passing away very quickly, one after another, very, very clearly. So all the shape and solidity disappears, which means you don't pay attention to shape and solidity, you only pay attention to sensations, and all the sensations very quickly passing away. So to see the object passing away very quickly is the first Nibindanyana, Patthama Nibindanyana. To see the wisdom passing away is Dutiya Nibindanyana. The two together makes the Nibindanyana complete. So in any insight, there is the beginning of the insight and the maturity of the insight. So in the beginning you see the object passing away very quickly. And then when that becomes more mature, stronger, you see the consciousness, the vipassana consciousness, the wisdom also passing away together. You notice one thing that passes away, and the consciousness which is aware of that passing away also passes away. Two together. So in this case, passing away doesn't mean changing into another form. This is something I want to point out again and again. This anicca doesn't mean changing away and existing in a different form. Anicca means disappearing, not there anymore. In Burmese it say kwe pyap pwaji, disappearing. So in Pali it means abhava. Bhava means existence, abhava means non-existence. Non-existence of the phenomenon. It arises and it passes away and it doesn't exist anymore, not in any form. So if you have studied quantum physics about subatomic particles, you can understand that also. No form, no shape, just energy. Sir Arthur, not Sir Arthur Eddington, another person, Robert Oppenheimer, said that if you ask if an electron stays in the same position, the answer will be no. If you ask if the electron changes, the answer is no. If you ask the electron stays, it is no. If you ask the electron moves, no. So what happens? An electron is just a kind of a theoretical model. Something disappears and something arises. They have a link, but they are not the same anymore. So very interesting if you study subatomic physics. So to explain this Nibindanyana, there are many Pali words used. Khaya. Khaya means something that comes to an end, something used up. Vaya, the same means. Beda, the same meaning. Dissolution. Nirodha, coming to an end. So all these words mean the same. So in Pali, khayato, vayato, daitva, diswa. So seeing that it doesn't exist anymore. It exists for a very short moment. That's all, and it doesn't exist anymore. So you can see all these in all your 6 dwara. Eye, ear, nose, body, tongue, and also the mind, also thoughts, awareness. In all those 6 sense bases, whatever you notice, you notice it barely and it's not there anymore. So you can do that on all sense bases, not just in one. So rupa disu eke kassa bangam diswa. Rupa disu means rupa etc. Physical phenomenon etc. means vedana, sanya, sankhara, vijnana, all that. So in all the 5 khandhas, after seeing one of them as passed away, eke kassa, one of them, bangam, passing away, diswa, having seen, puna yena chittena bengo ditto, and then later, with that consciousness which the passing away of that any object has been seen, tatapi bangang dasana vatina, that of that also passing away seen. So the object passed away, and this unconsciousness is aware of that object passing away. Another consciousness is aware of that vipassana consciousness pass away also. So this is the quotation from the Pali. This is from Patisambhida Magga. So tassapi banga dasana vasena purima vuttuto enya vuttu sankamana. So seeing the first object passing away and seeing the consciousness which becomes an object of the next consciousness, and that consciousness also passes away. And one can see many layers, many times, but not necessary to go on too many times, but at least you see the object passes away, the vipassana, meditating consciousness, wisdom also passes away. That is quite enough actually, but it can go on many times. So the person is seeing passing away so clearly that he is not even paying attention to arising anymore. So in the 4th insight he pays attention to arising very clear, passing away very clear. In the 5th, he's not paying attention to arising anymore. So in the very beginning we see arising and arising and arising, not passing away. Before we see something passing away, we see another thing arising. So in the beginning, arising and arising and arising. After a while, arising, passing away, arising, passing away, arising, passing away. After a while, passing away, passing away, passing away. So this is the way the maturity of insight develops. So udayam pahaya vaye santiktana. Udayam means arising. Pahaya means ignoring. Ignoring arising, vaye, in passing away, santiktana, the mind stays. The mind observes, passing away only. So that makes the understanding of impermanence very strong. That is the culmination of the understanding of anicca, impermanence. So in those two, seeing, passing away, there is nothing in between. The mind doesn't get distracted to anything else. Very few thoughts come in this stage. So in the first insight, people meditate their things a little bit. In the second insight, thinking a lot about anicca, dukkha, anatta, all three. Second insight, thinking about the causes for arising. Noticing and thinking, noticing and thinking. It happens like that. In the third insight, more thinking about the meditation, about anicca, dukkha, anatta. Fourth insight, less thinking. Fifth insight, almost no thinking at all. So that means that you cannot think about it. It is becoming very fast. There's no time to think about it. And it goes on like that until it comes to the 9th insight. 8th insight, 9th insight, some thinking coming back again. But only about Dhamma, not about worldly matters. So there are many similes given here, but you don't see the pictures. The similes are, there's a very hot pot, iron pot, a big iron pot, very hot, and you throw in sesame seeds. And every seed burns and makes the sound, very quick sounds. Or a lake, raindrops falling. You see many raindrops falling very quickly. But this doesn't mean that you see these images when you're meditating. This is just a simile. So when the raindrops hit the water, sometimes a bubble appears and it disappears immediately. So not much to talk about this fifth insight, because that's all it is. You see things passing away very quickly, very quickly. You see the awareness also passing away very quickly. And they are happening continuously, continuously. Not just one thing passing away and then you stop and think. You don't think. You see passing away, passing away, passing away, passing away. For hours you can see that. And because you see that, you can feel that, oh, this process is dangerous. Passing away so quickly, you cannot rely on it. You cannot identify on it. But you see that this is dangerous, but you are not afraid. The two is very important. If you become afraid, too much fear, and you stop meditating, and it interrupts your meditation, that doesn't mean that this is insight. Because real fear comes because of identification. When there's no identification, you just see things passing away. Impersonal, it has nothing to do with you. But you see that nobody can identify with this and hold on to this and rely on this. There's no reliance. In this mental and physical phenomenon, nothing is reliable. That's why there's a question somewhere here. It said this Bhayanyana, seeing of danger. Is seeing of danger fearful? No. The answer is no. Very clear no. Because fear is kind of dosa, defilement, which comes from identification. You see that this is fearful, but you see that this is danger, but you're not fearful. For example, if you see a tiger in the forest, you will feel really afraid. You'll run for your life. But if you see a picture of a tiger or a picture in a zoo, you see that, well, this beast is really dangerous. But you are interested in it. You don't run away. So some people, when they become very fearful, they mistake that fear as a kind of insight. Real insight has no fear. Like a wise person, seeing that a young boy is playing with something dangerous. Don't play with this, this is dangerous. But the wise man is not fearful. So in this state, when you see that it is dangerous, this is the sixth insight, seeing it as danger. The sixth insight, people don't become very joyful at this state, not elated. In the fourth insight, you have a lot of joy, you feel very elated. Happiness and joy. But in this state, there's no strong happiness or joy anymore. Sometimes you feel very calm, but not depressed, not excited. And when this Bhayanyana, this state, seeing the process, mental and physical, as danger, becomes very mature, it moves toward seeing it as seeing the disadvantages. In fact, this is just talking about the same thing from different perspective. So disadvantage in Pali means adinoa, very dissatisfactory. Adinoa means disadvantage. So you see that, well, there's no advantage in this mental and physical process. It cannot make you happy. So at this stage, the meditator can see that no matter what happened in the past, everything passes away just like now. And in the future also, no matter what happens, good or bad, good life or bad life, everything will pass away just like it is happening now. So you don't wish for a better life even. Generally people will think, oh, if I can get reborn in a better life, it will be so nice. But if you really see very closely the mental and physical phenomenon pass away very quickly, you can see that what for? Everything is passing away so quickly. Why do we want anything at all? So you don't want any kind of life at that moment. But if you lose that insight, you still want. So at that moment, when you have that insight, you can see that nothing is worthy of having. You cannot have anything actually. So whenever the person takes notice, it passes away. No attachment, no desire to keep it. So the person see that Uppado Bayan, arising is danger. Becoming is danger. Uppado means becoming, is danger. Pavatam Bayan, happening is danger. Whatever happens, it is dangerous. And Ayuhana, thinking that something can bring satisfaction and trying to get it is dangerous. And sometimes very brief thoughts come in, and people in a glimpse understand the teaching of the Buddha if they have read anything. Very brief short words or phrases or sentences comes into the mind also. So once when I was meditating, the conclusion part of Paticca Samuppada arises. It came spontaneously, and at that moment you are not thinking about the meaning, but the meaning becomes very deep and profound. So at that moment, the thing that came into my mind was Evametassa kevalasa dukkha khandasa samudaya hoti, and Evametassa dukkha khandasa nirodha hoti. Evametassa kevalasa, and this word kevala is very important. Evametassa means in this way. Kevalasa means not mixed with anything. Just dukkha khandasa, just a heap of dukkha arises, not mixed with any being, not mixed with any satisfaction. So not mixed is very important. Can you find a better word for that? Kevala means not mixed, not a mixture of anything, just pure dukkha arises and pure dukkha passes away. Not a being, not anything enjoyable. Purely dukkha. So in this way, this process, which is very unsatisfactory, arises and it passes away. You don't see it as me or my or mine, not a being, not a thing. Just a process. Very clear, this is just a process, no control, you cannot stop it. You cannot say it don't happen. One thing or another will happen depending on the conditions. So, sometimes people who have a lot of knowledge will remember other things too. Anupado kemam. Anupado means not arising. Kema means it's safe. If nothing happens, it's quite safe. If anything happens, it will pass away. There's no safety. So kema also means nibbana. And anupado sukham. So this is very hard to understand. Not arising is happiness. So mostly people think happiness means something you enjoy. But here happiness means no suffering. So that's why in the Four Noble Truths you'll find dukkha satya, but there's no sukha satya. Dukkha satya, dukkha samudaya satya, dukkha nirodha satya, dukkha nirodha gamani patipada satya. Dukkha as the truth, and the cause of dukkha as the truth, the cessation of dukkha as the truth, and the practice leading to the cessation of dukkha as the truth. So in every satya, this word dukkha comes. Although we make it short as dukkha satya, samudaya satya. No, samudaya satya is not a complete, not a complete way of saying it. Dukkha samudaya satya. Nirodha satya is just a short form. Dukkha nirodha satya. And dukkha nirodha gamini patipada satya. So dukkha and the cessation of dukkha only. So there is no sukha satya. But sukha means absence of dukkha. When there is no dukkha anymore, that is the happiest state. So anupado nibbanam, not arising, is nibbana. So after this, seeing the disadvantages of arising and passing away, this insight moves over, and another insight in Pali which is called Nibindanyana. Nibinda means disenchanted. This wisdom which is not enchanted in anymore, not delighted in anything anymore. See no delight in anything. In some ways, this Nibinda also means it's a kind of boredom, but not a boredom of meditation. Boredom means seeing these things rising and passing away. There's nothing to get excited about it. The same thing happening again and again without end. So the person sees that there's nothing enjoyable there. So you see, in the beginning stage of meditation, people become very happy. They have a lot of piti, joy, raptures, a lot of peacefulness. At this stage, the mind is calm, but you don't feel anything anymore. You see that everything is gone, everything is gone. You become very disenchanted. And you don't want to think about anything anymore. In the beginning, you want to think. Thinking even is very enjoyable. You see, you can think so well. At this stage, when you think, you watch the thought again and it's gone. And you are left with emptiness, just watching, no thought anymore. Even thinking becomes boring, not something interesting and enjoyable. So some people express that also, sometimes. Oh, I don't want to think anymore. Why think? Not necessary to think. We are thinking too much. So even thinking about Dhamma is a kind of dukkha. So in this stage, one can understand it from this verses also. Sabbe sankhara anicca. Sankhara means anything conditioned, any kind of phenomena is sankhara. So sabbe sankhara, all the sankharas are anicca. And anicca ti, thus, yada piñaya pasati, one sees with wisdom. Atha nibindati dukkhe, then you become very disenchanted with dukkha, with suffering. Esa maggo visuddhiya, this is the way to purity. Because you don't get attached to it, you don't get upset about it anymore. You are totally detached. And sabbe sankhara dukkhati. So the first is anicca, and second dukkha. The meaning is almost the same. But the third verse is very important. Sabbe Dhamma anatta. It's nothing sankhara. So in the first two verses, you see sabbe sankhara anicca, sabbe sankhara dukkha. But the third verse is sabbe Dhamma anatta. It includes everything there. So most people, I met a few people who argue that Buddha said the five khandhas are anatta. But he didn't say that there is no anatta. He didn't say that there is no atta. Some people argue with me like that. One people came and asked me, yes, Buddha said the pinsa khanda is all of them anatta, not self, but there is something else which is self, which Buddha did not deny, they said. I said, no. Buddha said, sabbe dhamma anatta. Everything, every concept, even nibbana is anatta. Nothing left. This word dhamma includes everything, nothing left out. So everything is anatta. There is no such thing which we can call atta. So this verse is very, very important. And that's why this arinavanyana, bhayanyana, arinavanyana, nibindanyana, these three insights, bhayatu pathanam ekamewa tini namani labati. So you see, Tini means tree, Namani means name, Labati means get. Actually it's the same insight which gets 3 names. So although it has got 3 names, in fact this is just one insight. That's why I told you the rest very short. Yacha Bayatu Patani Panya Yancha Arinavinyanam. So when you see something as danger, when you see disadvantages, Yacha Nibida, when you see something very disenchanting, Ime Dhamma Ikata, all this is just one, the same. Ikata means the same. Bhyanjana Maiva Nanam, only 3 different names. 3 different names for one insight. But you can see this one insight from 3 different perspectives. Danger, disadvantage, nothing to be happy about. No happiness there. So after this, seeing these things as danger and seeing every arising and passing away as something disadvantage, seeing everything as not worthy of getting enchanted, after that the person wants to be free from all those things, get out of it, getting very tired of it. So it is called Monchi tu Kamyatanya. Monchi means freedom, tu Kamyata means wanting to be. So Monchi tu Kamyata means wanting to be free. That's another insight. So watching in this body, all the 5 khandhas, and this meditator can see that not even one of them is worthy of being attached to. Cannot find anything worthy of being attached to. So this person wants to become free from all sankhara, want to go away, want to escape. For example, if you are not happy in some place, you will think of going away, find another place which will be more peaceful and happy. So you cannot find any happiness in this 5 khandhas. So you want to be free from 5 khandhas. Even sometimes this noticing, you can see that as, this is also tiring. Keeping noticing. Watching, meditating. This is also tiring. So you see how far you've come. In the beginning, we get excited about all the sense pleasures. When you start meditating, you want to let go of those sense pleasures. But in meditation, you become calm and peaceful and happy. You get attached to that. But when you get to this stage, you are not even attached to meditation anymore. Even that becomes very disenchanting. And you want to be free from meditation also. This is rightly so, it's good. So here the translation of the Pali, the object of meditation and the consciousness meditating, you want to be free from both. Not just the object, you want to be free from the consciousness, the awareness which is meditating. You want to be free from even that consciousness. That means you don't want to take notice of anything anymore. So in some cases, people get so fed up with this watching of the phenomenon arising and passing away, sometimes they think it would be nicer not to watch it anymore. And they stop watching. They stop paying attention. Sometimes the mind just becomes blank. It doesn't get distracted to any other object because this person's mind is so disenchanted that he cannot get interested in anything at all. So stop meditating, the mind is still very calm, but cannot see arising and passing away anymore. And the person said, well, this is much better, this is more peaceful, this is more enjoyable. Not noticing anything anymore, just being very calm and peaceful. Just living in a blank void. But if a person stays in that state longer, he will lose the clarity. And then he will be back in hell again. No escape. Stopping meditation is not an escape. So the person pays attention again, seeing that everything lasts only very brief moment. Very brief moment. It lasts only between arising and passing away, so short. And this process makes the thing seems like something lasting. Just like if you watch a movie, big screen movie, in 1 second they project about 20 frames. But you don't see the blank. For 20 times in 1 second, the screen becomes dark. But we don't see that because our eyes cannot detect that so quickly. So we see somebody there moving. Actually there's no movement. One frame, another frame, little bit different. Another frame, little bit different. And that simile is very good simile. So things like that happen. But because we don't see the gap, we see that the same person moving. There's no same person moving actually. So for a very short moment, one frame comes and goes away. And in meditation you can see that much. In 1 second you can see 20 frames gone. But for you, for a meditator with such concentrated mind, 1 second is a long time. So time becomes very distorted. Yesterday I was discussing some similar idea with somebody here. Normally we teach citta and bhavanga citta. Viti citta means the mind that observes whatever is happening here now. Bhavanga citta is a kind of ground state of the mind, which has no clear, perceptible, strong object, just maintaining life, maintaining the continuity of the consciousness, without any present object. So, normally people have this gap very wide, this maintenance consciousness which is called bhavanga citta, very long duration. One consciousness arises and passes away, noticing whatever is happening now or thinking about something, and then a gap. Another consciousness process arises, passes away, and in that process also aware of some object or any kind of idea, any kind of thought, and then a gap again. So normally people have very wider gap. The wider the gap, the less we know. The more we become absent-minded. So when you meditate more and more, the mind becomes sharper and sharper, and the gap in between becomes smaller and smaller. So in the same time process, you have more awareness in between. Awareness becomes compact into this time span. For example, in the beginning, you can pay attention, one awareness 1 second. After a while, 5, 10, 15, 20, it can become like that. So the more awareness you have, the longer the time seems. So what is time? Time is actually just an idea. So when you are totally unaware of, so once in a while, in this kind of insight state, very brief thoughts come, very brief and short. In Pali words, it means salah. Salah means not stable, nothing is stable. Everything is moving and shaking. Shaking, moving, and doesn't last. So thoughts like that come in the mind. Atharaka, there is no substance there. There is no lasting substance there. Insubstantial. Everything is insubstantial. And sometimes also sankhata. Things arise because they are causes to arise. Very brief thoughts come like that. Sometimes the meditator feels like this arising and passing away is continuously oppressing. It is like a torture, continuously giving you no break. Like a very sharp sound somebody making continuously. After a while it becomes very irritating. Oh, this is very irritating. This is just a torture. So you observe things arising and passing away so long, you see that this arising and passing away, you are trapped in it. You cannot get away with it. You cannot get away from it. This is just a trap. This is just a torture. You feel like you are trapped in arising and passing away. And unbearable, sometimes it becomes, this is unbearable. And this object is dukkha. Sometimes this is painful. So thoughts like that come. Oh, this is painful. This arising and passing away is painful. Having to watch these things arising and passing away also is painful. Sometimes you see that as life is a chronic disease. It goes on and on. No matter how healthy you think you are, it's always arising and passing away. It's like chronic disease. But don't think too much about it. If you think too much, you become depressed. So these glimpses of thought comes naturally. Take notice of them, let them go. Don't stop and think too much. And if you stop and think, you can think very well, because your mind is not distracted. You can write Dhamma books. But don't stop and think. If you think too much, you become very, very depressed. Because when you think, you identify. Thinking makes you feel like you are thinking. If you cannot take notice of the thought, it makes you identify with your thoughts. And thinking makes you feel like there's a continuity. Thinking connects. If you don't think, there's no connection between one happening and another happening. If you think, you connect. So thinking is what makes us feel like there's a continuity and connection. If you don't think, there's no connection, no continuity. Something arises and passes away, that's it. No meaning. So sometimes you feel like life is a chronic disease, and sometimes you feel like this arising and passing away is a thorn in the flesh. And sickness also, sometimes you feel like this is a sickness. Life is a sickness. So when you talk about these inside states, it's so negative. It's like, sounds like very pessimistic. And also you see that as a danger without warning. It's like a danger without warning. It's like a time bomb. You can die any moment. Anything can happen any moment. No, unpredictable. And atana. This is not somewhere you can go and hide and feel safe. This process is not a place you can go and feel safe. No hiding, no refuge. So many thoughts like that, glimpses come. There is no refuge in this process. And also, when people get attached to these objects, which is the object of attachment, defiles the mind. You can see them as object of defilement. So even in this state, you can see dukkha. Even in the beginning state also you see dukkha, but the two are quite different. In the beginning state, you see dukkha, but you don't see dukkha as each moment arising and passing away. In this state, whatever arises and passes away, you see that as dukkha, unsatisfactoriness, but you see one thing after another very clearly. So all the vipassana jnanas are actually anicca, dukkha, or anatta, that's all. If you talk about vipassana jnana in brief, there are only three. And you can make it even one. The three, if you make it one, it's all arising and passing away. One jnana, it becomes one even. So this is talking in detail, experiencing in detail. Actually, every insight is either anicca or dukkha or anatta. Deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. After even the first enlightenment, the same thing we will experience, but in more depth, more profoundly. And sometimes you see that it doesn't belong to anybody. There's nobody here who owns these things. These processes have no owner. You hear, you pay attention to hearing, it arises and passes away. You know that I don't own this hearing. It is already gone. So feeling of ownership, we think that this body is mine and I hear. But in this inside state, you can see that nobody owns these natural processes. And also you see you cannot rule on it. You cannot tell the process, happen like this or don't happen like this, stay or don't come. No ruler. And you can see that it's empty, void of being, self, atta, soul. No soul, no being. Not a man, not a woman. So different aspect of anicca, dukkha, anatta. So although once in a while the meditator feels like stopping meditating, well, it's better to stop. What's the point of going on looking these things which are so unsatisfactory? You see the same thing. And afterward the meditator comes to understand that stopping is not a solution. Keep going, keep noting. There's no other way. So for some people, each insight takes quite a long time. For some people, it takes only a brief moment. Maybe a few minutes, maybe a few hours. For some people, it might take a few days. Some people, it might take a few weeks or a few months. It depends on the person's motivation. If you think that you have a lot of time and you want to investigate one insight slowly and thoroughly, it might take a long time. But if you don't want to do that, you can just pay more and more attention and speed up the process. And sometimes in this stage, people begin to think that, oh, my meditation is not as good as it used to be. And this is very dangerous. Sometimes they feel unhappy about the meditation. Actually, they are unhappy about the process. And this unhappiness is switched over to another object and thinking that my meditation was very good, but now it's not very good anymore. I don't see things very clearly. Because when something goes slowly, it stays and you can see things very clearly. At this stage, it goes away so fast that you don't know what to do. You can't even really see. It's gone, gone, so fast. And everything is so uninteresting. In the fourth insight, things were very interesting. But now it's not really interesting anymore. It becomes a little bit boring. So be very careful. When you feel bored, just remind yourself, it's getting better. Some people really quit. And many teachers said, oh, what a pity. What a sad thing. They have to go on meditating, then they'll break through. But they just stop and quit. They become very discouraged. So don't be discouraged. Keep going. So this is Patisankhaññāna, the ninth insight. So Bhangāñāna, passing away. Bhayañāna, seeing danger. Arinavañāna, seeing disadvantages. Nibindanyana, becoming very disenchanted. And Monsitukamyatanyana, wanting to be free. And then Patisankhaññāna, back to meditation. You want to be free, you cannot run away. Go back to meditation. And the next will be Sankharupakkhaññāna. That is very deep and very interesting state also. So I'll take more time to talk about it next week. I'll give full time for that 10th insight next week. And after the 10th, there are other insights also which follows, but it happens in a split second. So you cannot do anything about it. Beyond the 10th insight, there's no coming back. It goes on very quickly. So I'll just explain what happens. So next week I will talk about the 10th, which is very important and very interesting. And one thing very interesting, surprising, the potential Buddhas, when they meditate, they come to the 10th insight, but they stop there. They don't go on. And the ability to stop there is really amazing. One can stop there and don't go on, don't cross over.
They can become
Arhat, and not become a Buddha. They become Pitchaka Buddha. So, about the insight, today I'll stop here and let you ask a few questions, if you have any. Yes, please.
You really cared about what happened in California.
Right. Right? Oh, very difficult, very difficult. I feel for people very strongly. Sometimes I become very sad. You overcome sadness when you become an anagami. I'm not an anagami. So I feel. But I know it will be over. I don't get caught in it. I don't get angry, but I feel sad. This is kind of dosa also. Because these people, they are looking for something beyond sense pleasure, beyond money. They have very good intention, very beautiful intention. I feel sad that they have wasted their life. Such a waste, such a waste. If they get real good guidance, they can learn and grow. So they have missed a very valuable opportunity. And also I was thinking, well, there might be many other people like that. There might be many other people seeking something spiritual, something kind of freedom. But they don't have a good teacher, good guide. And this is just a tip of an iceberg. This can happen again. It happened now. It can happen again. It happened before. So something needs to be done. I don't mean that one person is responsible for it. I mean the whole community is responsible for it. So here, we cannot do everything for the whole world. But let us think, what can we do here now? What can we teach our friends, our children? We need to do something about it, just to feel, oh yeah, that happened. Never mind, it's their karma. Forget it. That doesn't solve the problem. We need to find a solution. It might happen to your children, or to your grandchildren, or to your great-grandchildren. Someday it will come. People are feeling lost. And these people who died, they are not poor. I've heard that they are millionaires. A lot of them are very rich. Why did they die? Why did they kill themselves? And why did the leader, the teacher, told them to kill themselves and help them die? It could be, yes. But in the Buddhist teaching, this is very important. Just blaming totally on past karma is not the right view also. Because if we say we cannot do anything about it, then why do we try anything at all? We say, well, if I have karma to become enlightened, it will happen. I don't want to meditate. I don't need to do that. So we are doing something which means that with the help of past karma and what we do now, which is present karma, we can do something. Even if the past karma has some sort of bad effect, if we do something now, it can change the past karma also, direction of the past karma, block the past karma. So we need to have a lot of confidence in our present karma. So just totally submitting to past karma is a kind of micchadeti, wrong view. Buddha did not teach that we can not do anything about it. In some cases, Buddha said, this person has died, but he had enough past karma to become an arhat. He did not try. If you don't try, it will not happen. So, past karma plus present karma, very important. So no matter what happened in the past, we need a good teacher now. We need to practice now. It's like guiding an aeroplane. There are many other forces, wind blowing, storm, many things happening. In the plane also, it has its own energy, forces there. Maybe one engine stopped, but another one engine, the pilot is trying to guide the plane, taking into account of all the wind and everything. So every time you change your course, no plane can go from one direction to another in a straight line. It is always adjusting. So this is the way we do in our life. We always adjust little bit. We can guide our life toward a goal. We have that sort of partial control. Not total control, but partial control and partial freedom. We need to understand that very well and make best use of it. We are born here, we have no choice of our parents, in a way. We have no choice of our color, our stature, our body, whatever. But we have some choice still to develop our qualities. We have that choice. So that is very encouraging. Our karma is in our hand. Past karma, yes, it affects very much, I know that. What I did in my past life affect me here very well, very strongly. Bad effect also and good effect also. After I understood this karma, I thought everything happened in my life is perfectly okay. It should happen that way. But that doesn't mean that I have no control. It happened, and the way I understand it and respond to it is my present karma. So understanding and proper way of responding is very important. That's in my hand. If I have good teacher, good guidance, and if I can understand things properly, I can guide my life. So this is very encouraging actually, very empowering also. You are not powerless, you have a lot of power. If you develop mindfulness and wisdom, you have a lot of power. You don't need to be depressed and give up. Never give up. When I was young, I was very unhappy about many things. I had a very painful childhood. Not just childhood, until in my late 20s. Very painful experiences. Many times I thought of ending my life. End it. Be over with it. But something deep in me told me, no, don't do that. This is just a stage you have to pass through. This is just another stage. A learning process. Take heart. Calm down. Do something good now. It will be over. And after that, you will know that you have learned a lot from that experience. And you need that experience. Without painful experiences, we don't learn. We don't grow up. Now when I look back into my life, I have very different kinds of exposures. Many teachers, many different interests, exposed to many different religions, exposed to many different painful experiences in my life. Now I understand that all that helps me to become a better person. All that is a lesson for me. I learn and I'm happy about it. So it's very important to understand that. Yes?
Before you talk about the awareness, with the sharp awareness, the awareness of the Bhagavad
Shorten, yes?
also relationship with perception of time. Also take good intention very clearly. Could you...
So when you fall asleep, deep sleep, you have continuous bhavanga. And for that stretch of time, you don't have any awareness of time anymore. You don't know how long you have slept. Sometimes you think that you have slept a long time and you look at the clock or watch, it's just a few minutes. Sometimes you feel that I haven't slept enough and you look at the clock, it's many hours. So you lose track of time. So the longer the bhavanga chitta, the longer you lose time. You don't get the time that you spend in bhavanga chitta. So the more time you spend on noticing, that's the time you get. You don't lose it, you don't miss those things. So when we meditate, we develop this viti chitta, process chitta, which is aware of the present. And the more we practice it, it will go to the ground state again, but it will not stay there long. Another energy, full energy, another consciousness arises with full energy. So the bhavanga chitta span is shorter and shorter. So for say 10 seconds, if you are unaware, you can have 10 consciousness only. In between only bhavanga, ground state. If you pay more attention, it can become 100. That means you get more time there. You get to do more things in that time span. You can take notice of more phenomenon. So in that way, you feel like you have more time.
All of things can happen
in a brief moment, yes. Right, that's right. You know, in 1 second, 4 insights can happen in 1 second. 11, 12, 13, 14. In 1 second. How can that happen? Such so short duration. So I will discuss about this also later. Please wait another person.
Also, cultivate insight level. Without being in a mental situation or a control situation.
You can, yes. In any situation, it depends on a lot of other factors too. Some people, even at the time of the Buddha, even now, I know a few people, not many, a few people, lay people, they develop very deep insight. Yes, please.
More connection with awareness, consciousness in a second. Is there more chance of there being more temptation to identify as well? Or along with that wisdom, is there also the wisdom?
The wisdom of seeing things as just pure phenomenon and passing away very quickly so that you don't identify. But if you think about it, then you identify with it. That's why I warn many times, don't think too much. Brief thoughts naturally comes, just take notice and let go. Keep attention. Only thinking makes you identify with it. Yes?
You mentioned that at one stage in these insights, the meditator sees nothing reliable or safe in the highest aggregate. If they were to the six sense bases, rapidly arising and passing away, just as phenomena, how does the reflection arise from the five aggregates?
Reflection means thinking.
Well, you related it to the five aggregates.
Five aggregates?
The meditative, the rapid movement of phenomena just from the six sense bases. How is the reflection upon the components of each of the five aggregates as being no refuge, no security?
This is a flash of thought. In between insights, flashes of thoughts come, very clear. You are not deliberately thinking, because this is the function of our mind also. Conceptualizing, thinking of ideas, even Dhamma is a kind of idea. So, it happens naturally. In any insight, brief flashes of thoughts come. In a way, it is just clarifying your insight. It is useful, but when it becomes too much, it hinders the progress.
Is that flashes anything to do with the so-called change of lineage in the different consciousness? Part and non-part, or non-part and part?
Part and non-part happens in the fourth insight. Becoming attached to the pleasurable meditation experiences and seeing that this is not a part, and then back to meditation. So this is also a kind of reflection thinking, but this is right thinking. So samadhi, sammasankappa, these are the factors necessary. Right seeing, right thinking, or right reflection.
Possible during this period of disenchantment, the meditator can abruptly give up and go.
Some people leave, but I don't know whether it happens abruptly or not. Some people really go away. They want to go away, they want to escape. So this is a very important point you point out. But abruptly means suddenly. Well, I don't know whether it suddenly happened or not, but some people really do get up and go away. So what happens is, they want to be free. But free from what? No matter where you go, you carry your 5 khandhas with you. How can you be free from that? But this desire for freedom, or this desire to go away, is misdirected to going away from the situation, the surrounding. That happens. Unknowingly it happens. So there are many things I can tell you, which some of us experience, some of my friends also, I experienced that also. For example, I was living in a monastery and meditating. When I get to that state, I don't want to live in that monastery anymore. I thought this is not a good place to live. I want to find a better place, a more quiet, more remote, more peaceful. Here too much distraction. So, wanting to go away from this process is misdirected to wanting to go away from the place. Sometimes very sad things happen. People quit job, they give up marriage. Even that happens. They want to be free. But free from what? Not free from a relationship or free from a situation, free from a place. So that happens because they start thinking. Everything is unsatisfactory. My job is not good. The place I'm living in is not good. The house I'm living in is not good. The person I'm living with is not good. I want to go away. I want to be free. But you cannot go away and live on the moon. You have to be in the world. Live with the people. So that's why when a person comes to this state, it is very important to warn that person. Don't think. Just meditate. You direct your desire or wanting to be free to another object, which can cause a lot of confusion.
Can you have these flashes of insight without later being able to explain what it's all about?
It's very difficult to explain, actually. If you have...
Even to yourself?
Even to yourself, very difficult. Sometimes it can happen, like I said before, very quickly. So you don't know what happened. You feel very different, but you don't know what happened. So your teacher, if he has meditated and had all those experiences, and also if he have studied also, understanding how these things happen and why happened, and also discussion with other meditators who really wholeheartedly meditated and experienced all those things. Because one person cannot experience everything in detail. So if you have other people with whom you can discuss, and other teachers with whom you can discuss, and if you have that experience for a long time, then you understand it very deeply. So when a meditator becomes very disenchanted and look very sad and not interested in anything anymore, you don't want to eat sometimes, even food is not interesting. So a teacher can see, this person is going through this disenchantment feeling. So can encourage you and warn you also. Keep practicing, don't get upset, don't go away. This is something you have to go through. Because people think that after the 4th insight, they think that everything will be more enjoyable, more happy, more exciting, more joyful. No, that doesn't happen. It goes down. You develop deeper insight and you don't feel happy. But this is not depression. Any more questions?
When you can see phenomena arising and passing away so quick, you can't even identify what they are.
Yes, you can't identify, but you only see that something happened and it's gone. Just something. You don't... you are not concerned about what happened. All you pay attention is something happened and it's gone. Yes? So that they can develop deeper samadhi and deeper insight. If you can do that, it's very useful. Quicker, you can develop deeper samadhi very quickly if you live in a secluded place with not much to do. But Buddha was very compassionate too. Once I asked my teacher, I told him that I wanted to become a hermit rather than become a monk, because a monk is too dependent on people. If I were a hermit, I can grow my own vegetables and crops, beans and corns and all that, and just cook my own simple meal. I can eat anything, just boil and eat, and be independent. If you live a very, very simple life, you need very little, no luxury. Don't drink any coffee or tea, just boil rice and boil vegetable, you can eat it. Don't oil even, you don't even need that. I know some people who live like that. My teacher said, no, don't become a hermit. Become a monk. At that time I was not a monk yet. He said, become a monk. I told him that I want to be independent and free. And I think it is better for me. And he said, you know why Buddha didn't allow monks to grow and cook? I told him that, no, I don't really understand why. But he was a hermit many times before. And my teacher said, yes, that was before he became a Buddha. He said, if you monks, all of them go away and grow your own food and cook your own meal and stay away from people, who will carry on the teaching? Who will teach the people? You won't be in contact with people. So to be in touch with people is very important too, but sometimes to go away, that is also very important. So my teacher explained that to me in a very detailed and gently, very kindly. He explained that to me and convinced me to become a monk. Very compassionately. I told him that I don't want to teach. I just want to learn and live my life very peacefully and quietly. Actually, I'm a very shy person. Maybe some of you noticed that. So when I was young, I don't talk much. I was asked to give a talk just about 5 minutes. I was so agitated that I said things I didn't mean to say. And I was so ashamed of that, I thought, I will never give a talk. No, never. I'm too ashamed to do that anymore. And then later, when I became a monk, some people asked me to give 5 precepts. I couldn't even do that. I mixed up all the things and made a lot of mistakes in 5 precepts. Then I thought, no, this is not for me. This is not for me. I don't want to give a talk. I can't talk. But my teacher gently encouraged me, go talk. I ran away actually. Many times my teacher said, come, stay with me and help him teach. I said no. And one night I just wrote that I'm going away, I pay respect to you. I ask for your forgiveness if I have done anything wrong. And I just left a note there and ran away. And hid for a few years, for 6 years. Because he wanted me to stay near him and teach. I said I don't want to do that. He wanted me to take with him to the West, to America. I told him, no, I don't want to go to the West. What do I need to go there for? But later, slowly and slowly, very patiently, very compassionately, he encouraged me, do this, teach.
Did you come back on your own or did you?
I did not come back on my own actually. I happened to be in the same city because I was sick with tonsillitis and malaria, 2 together. It was very hard for me. I had fever every day. So I was getting weaker and weaker. And then my friend said, go to the city, get a good treatment. But if you stay here, you'll die. But I can't cope with 2 sickness. So I went to the city and got both of my tonsils removed, tonsillectomy. And then when I recovered from that, after a few days, about 10 days after my operation, I can speak a little bit. My throat was swollen and it was very painful. Then I heard that my teacher was in that town, in that city. So people come and told me, and my teacher heard that I was in that city, had an operation. And he asked about my health. So what shall I do now? I can't run away. So I went and paid respect to him. He said, stay here. So I can't say no. I thought, oh goodness. Again, what can I do now? And he said, 2 years later, I'm going to America again. Be prepared for that. And give me the promise. I can't do anything. I said, okay, I'll go there with you and I'll come back with you. because I know that he will not stay there. And he said, okay, that's okay, I will not leave you there. So I prepared for 2 years, because I stopped reading totally. I didn't read any books at all. No Pali books, no Burmese book, no English book. I just live in the forest and meditate. So reading a book is so much burden, such a big burden. You have to understand and remember and translate that into English. So I have to try to remember the equivalent of one Pali word, one English word. What is the equivalent of this Pali word in English? Try to find Pali to English dictionaries and memorize thousands of words. So much dukkha to memorize something, because I gave up learning and thinking for so long. It was so nice. And now I have to read and memorize again. So much dukkha. And read the Pali text. It's more than 40 texts. Thoroughly. And it took me many, many years, every day learning, remembering. Prepared for that for 2 years. And then I went with him to America. And he said he'll be there only for 4 months. I said, okay, for 4 months, that's okay. I can bear with that, I can endure that 4 months. But after 4 months, he wouldn't come back. He said, I'm going to stay here for another... Oh, no, he left. He said, now I'm going back, but you stay. But very compassionately he said that it's very difficult to say no to my teacher. He will say something in such a gentle way, as if he believed completely 100% that you will say yes. He did not expect you to say no. He never expected anybody to say no. He said, those other people are very happy that you are here. So please stay if you can. I said, alright, I'll stay. But when I want to go back again, I will not ask permission from you anymore, and I want to know that you have already given me permission to go back when I want to go back, whenever. So he said, okay, you can go back when you want to. So he left, and I stayed there. I thought 3 more months. Then altogether it made 7 months. Then I cannot leave, go on and on until 14 months. Then I said, this is enough for me. I'm very glad that I'm here. I've learned quite a lot, but I have to go back. Many of my friends said, we make you feel guilty. You are abandoning us. Who is going to be with us? Because there were many other monks, but they couldn't speak English. They are very learned. They are very great scholars in Pali, but they cannot speak English. So they need a translator. Whenever they want to give a Dhamma talk, they need another translator, and that translator doesn't understand what the teacher was saying actually. So he made a lot of mistakes. So I know the difficulty of talking with the interpreter. Even the interpreter couldn't understand what you were saying. But anyway, I told them that I've done as much as I can do. Give me permission. Allow me to go back. So I came back alone from America. So anyway, my teacher said, a monk needs some time to spend alone and practice for himself. But also a monk should go back and be in touch with people, help the people to learn. And many times I told my teacher, I have not learned enough yet. You know what he said? If you wait until you have learned enough, you will die before you have learned enough. How much is enough? And he also warned me many things. I had very good teachers. They also told me not to identify yourself as a big teacher, to be very humble. That also is very important. I know a lot of people made a lot of mistakes. A lot of teachers made a lot of mistakes because they become too proud of being a teacher. They are not humble enough. So to be humble, humility is very important. I'm helping you as much as I can. I don't know everything. I know something. And I try my best to help you. The knowledge that I give you might not be complete. It will not be complete. I cannot give you complete knowledge of anything at all. Because I have only partial knowledge. I don't know everything. But as much as I know, I want to share that with you. Maybe you learn something. And maybe other teachers will come and help you learn something more. So that's all I can hope for. So I'll be here for 4 months, and as much as is possible in my power, I'll help you. Any more questions? No more questions now. So we'll end our class now, and we'll pay respect, pay honor to the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha in English language only, because some people have difficulty reciting Pali. So I honor the Buddha by the very practice that leads to liberation. I honor the Dhamma by the very practice that leads to liberation. I honor the Sangha by the very practice that leads to liberation.